So the first thing, what is a solar eclipse? Obviously, I think we all know it's when the moon crosses in front of the sun, okay? And it can be either in perfect alignment, and when it is, it's called a total eclipse. If it's only partially, if part of it's covered, it's called a partial eclipse. So when we think about it, the moon is 400 times smaller than the sun, okay? How can the moon possibly cover up the sun if it's that much smaller? Well, the moon is 400 times closer to us than the sun. So it's darn near perfect. And that perfection is why we get the solar eclipse we get. Solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, what's the difference? Well, obviously, solar eclipse is when the moon blocks the sun. A lunar eclipse is when the Earth blocks the sun to the moon, okay? And so there's the main differences. Obviously, one happens in the daytime, the other happens at night. And one of them you can look at without a big deal. You can look at a lunar eclipse, doesn't hurt your eyes at all. Can't look at a solar eclipse, and that'll hurt your eyes. The other really interesting part is for our solar eclipse, we know that we're in a very special band, that we're in a special area where only so many people are going to get to see that totality. When you have a lunar eclipse, half of the Earth sees it at once. So when you see a lunar eclipse, the rest of the world sees it, half the world sees it with you. And so that's really neat. So there's 2 to 5 partial eclipse every year, okay? You get a total eclipse about every 18 months or so. That's how often it happens. Well, if it happens every 18 months, why is this a big deal? Why do we care? Why is this a big deal? Because to be in that range of totality is honestly a pretty special thing. And when you do the math, the ability to have totality in the same place happens about every 400 years. Yeah, so it happens pretty rarely. The next total eclipse in the continental United States is 2044. Let's just jump straight to the solar eclipse and how it damages our eye, okay? One question should be, well, Phil, if it's bad in a solar eclipse, how come I can be outside and it doesn't hurt me in the normal sunlight, okay? The truth is it can, and it does if you stare at it, okay? The problem is it hurts, right? You just can't do it. It hurts. You can't do it. We're made to avert from it. You can look at it for a second, you just can't do it, okay? And the disease entity is called solar retinopathy. All right. Obviously solar from the sun, retinopathy from the part of the eye that gets damaged, the retina. So do we only see this solar retinopathy with an eclipse? No, but eclipse is definitely the most common cause of it, okay? You also see it sometimes from arc welding. You also can see it from staring at the sun. There's some religious groups that feel that sun gazing is something you do for your religion, especially some pagan type of religions. Another one is if someone has a mental issue either from certain drugs or from schizophrenia. Sometimes they'll do some sun staring, and that can get it too. What type of reaction is it? Is it a thermal burn? Like, are you burning the back of the eye? Or is it more of a chemical burn? It's more of a chemical reaction. The ultraviolet light damages part of the back of the eye, releasing free radicals, which can then damage the cells back there. I like to think of it kind of like a sunburn. Because, when you're out and you get too much sun, it doesn't hurt right then. But boy, the next day you know it, right? When you look at solar retinopathy, it usually presents about 48 hours after the incident. Okay, so you won't know right away if you have a problem. It's usually 2 days afterwards, okay? When you have this solar retinopathy, what are the symptoms? So the primary symptom is called a central scotoma, which means when you look straight ahead, there'll be a blind spot or a blurry spot, okay? You can also have wavy lines, straight lines look wavy, We call that metamorphopsia, a fancy term, but straight lines can look wavy. Colors are wrong. You just look and the colors are off. They're just tinged wrong. Are there any treatments? No. Some people have tried steroid treatments with very limited success. Is it permanent? Not always. Okay, most of the time the vision comes back, usually within 6 months. Now, having said that, should any of us try it? No, absolutely not. Most of the time. Understand that, most of the time. So, it can return. It doesn't always. Okay? How can we safely view this? Because we want to see this. There's a couple safe ways. There's really 3 safe ways. One is have a right type of filter. Everybody's been seeing the solar glasses for looking at the sun and looking at there. Another is the old-fashioned pinhole projector camera, where you take a box and you put a hole in the box and you have a piece of paper in the back and you turn. You do not look at the sun through the pinhole. That you don't want to do that. You have to turn so that the sun's at your back. The sun will come in through the pinhole, project on the back surface, and you can see it through there. And of course, the light's not hitting your eye. You're fine. Not going to hurt you, but you're still going to get to see it. And then the third way, watch it on TV. Not quite as fun, but it works. It really does. The filters. What do we look for on the filters? You want to look for something that's been approved by the ISO, and I have a couple of different kinds here, and you will see that it has written right on the inside that meets the requirement for the ISO. And it's 12312.2, a couple more, but I remember the 123.2, okay? So has anybody worn one of these? All right, I need a volunteer. Get up here, young man. All right, so we're gonna let him wear these. All right, so to show you kind of what you can see through here, how many fingers am I holding up?
10.
Can you see anything? No, can't see a darn thing through them. Okay, it's like putting a welder's helmet on. That's how dark they are. So if you wonder if yours are appropriate, what you want to do is just make sure you can't see through them. Okay, now, I know that this young guy has used it once before, right? Can you look at the sun through these? What does it look like when you look through the sun?
A yellow dot.
It looks like a big orange. Yep. Him and I have been playing with it, obviously. And so, that's what you'll use when you look at it. Thanks, buddy. Go sit down. Our time period is 3:13 is when we're going to have totality. That's our section. And so about an hour and a half before and about an hour and a half afterwards, there are exact amounts. If you get on like websites, you can see, I think it's printed a couple places, probably in the paper, exactly what it is. It'll be from about 1 o'clock to 3:13 will be at an area of getting more and more and more eclipsed, okay? Then you have about a 3-4 minute window where it should be totality, where it's totally covered, okay? And then you're gonna get another hour and a half on the other side where you're gonna see it just back up. And then pretty soon the sun will come out. Actually, you're safe when it's completely covered. You need to watch the rest. It's the either side that you have to watch, okay? Because that's when you're getting the coverage and you're losing the brightness. You're losing what makes you not want to look at the sun, but the rays are still hitting you, okay? When the moon has totally got it covered, you're not getting hit by the rays anymore. So some people will actually take their glasses off in that time. I don't think I'm going to, Now, you can certainly take it off and feel like how dark it is. Just don't have to look at the sun, but you can feel how dark it is. It's supposed to also get about 5 to 10 degrees colder. Really? Yeah. So it'll get colder. The other thing is the the animals will react. And like I said, I'm a turkey hunter, so I'm interested to see, will the turkeys fly up in the tree? Will they start gobbling in the middle of the day? Will that happen? So here's that box I was talking, that pinhole projection. And then here's probably the most important slide of my whole group, what you can use and what you can't. Sunglasses are not enough. You can't use sunglasses, they'll burn you. Got to use the special ones. Don't look through binoculars. Don't look through microscopes. Don't use cameras unless you have a filter. I know someone who's got a great filter back there. You got to have the filters. It'll damage your equipment, and if you're looking through it, it'll damage your eyes. So just some things is, don't stop at the side of the road to watch this, okay? Make sure it's a nice place that you can park safely, okay? I know that sounds funny. You know, don't look at the sun when you're driving. You know, if you have to be out during this, just don't look at the sun, okay? Not that we want my son driving, ever, even though 8 years from now it will be legal. AJ, could you drive with those sunglasses on, or would you run into stuff? You can't see a thing. You can't drive with those on, okay? You'll be driving blind. You just can't do it. So if you are driving, don't look at the sun. Just be smart. Don't look at the sun. I would not put a kid in the car during this time period, especially a young one who doesn't understand. I would not do that, because they could look out the window and look at it. Turn your headlights on in the totality. It'll be nighttime. And then just watch. You know, you be having people that are just doing silly things, more interested in looking and backing up and walking in the street. Just be careful. So here is my time. So yeah, I had 312 to 315 in Knox County. And then here's just my last picture. Because you can see they took the picture without the filter, because they didn't need it in the totality. You're welcome. Any other questions? And you can always just come ask me yourself too. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. Thank you.